You may have seen posts online or rumors of people getting survivor augment blueprints from surveyors or Vita shots or all sorts of other weird blueprints. And well, yeah, they do drop blueprints, but I wanted to see how often and what kind of blueprints can you really expect from these things, and are they a reliable blueprint farming method? Well, to find out, I killed and looted 100 surveyors in the new map condition. It's a really great opportunity to farm surveyors because there are tons on the map. Typically, you get one surveyor per match that can respawn later on, sometimes not even one at all. So having suddenly access to dozens of surveyors per match gives us the opportunity to really farm these things like crazy and finally figure out just how often blueprints really drop. First, I want to take a little bit of a showcase of the blueprints we did get before we talk about the drop rates and some little tips on how you can hunt these down more effectively. We started things off with a stable stock blueprint, just a level 2 one, and then a showstopper. So already we're getting two different blueprint loot pools right here. A grenade, which is usually in an industrial container, and an attachment blueprint, which is usually a residential spawn. And the next one was a heavy guns parts blueprint, which is typically something found in only raider style containers, so like weapon cases or raider backpacks or ticking caches, right? So you're getting a wide variety of blueprints that can spawn in surveyors, which goes to show these are really special if you're maybe starting fresh from an expedition or you have a bunch of blueprints you don't already have, because you're going to loot a surveyor and just get a wide range of different things. We're getting high-level attachment blueprints, we're getting rare medical blueprints, we're getting the kind of blueprints that some people struggle to get, like the weapon blueprints such as the Anvil or Torrente or guns parts blueprints. And of course, yes, you can get augment blueprints in here. Out of the 16 blueprints I got in total across all of my surveyors, we got 2 augment blueprints. We got the Tactical Mark III Defensive and the Mark III Flanking. Funnily enough, these are 2 of the most common augment blueprints to drop in normal traditional augment containers. So my feeling is the rarity assigned to the blueprints here is probably quite similar. The Survivor, yes, it can drop, but it's probably quite rare. So, you know, you can try your luck with these surveyors, but you're probably going to have a better chance if you're looking specifically for the surveyor to go and hit up the typical augment container loot routes. And I think that goes without saying for pretty much any of the blueprints in the game. If you're looking for a very specific blueprint, you want to try and narrow down the number of blueprints you could potentially get when you loot a container, so that when you finally roll that blueprint, you're more likely to get what you're looking for, as opposed to a million other potential blueprints. That's why if you're looking for something, say, like the smoke grenade blueprint, I always recommend to loot residential containers on day raids instead of 2x events like night raids or locked gate, because you're adding more blueprints to the overall loot pool. So even if maybe the drop rate for blueprints is slightly higher in certain conditions, you're still going to have a lower chance overall to get a specific blueprint. So if you're specifically searching for a certain blueprint, then yeah, surveyors aren't really going to work out unless you get extremely lucky. I actually tried this experiment across 3 different accounts. Whilst the bulk of it was on my main account, I tried it on another account that is primarily PvP, but has had some progress in quests. However, it doesn't have many blueprints unlocked. And I did it on another PvE account that's done no quests, but also has very few blueprints unlocked. Now, I did this for a very specific reason. I wanted to figure out what the overall blueprint drop rate was for surveyors, but there are so many differing experiences online that I started to wonder maybe there's some other mechanic going on. And in fact, some people on there online really believe that surveyors will only drop you blueprints that you don't already have unlocked. So I wanted to test. Maybe surveyors drop more blueprints for those that don't have many unlocked. Maybe there's some kind of mechanic there that gives you a higher drop rate if you don't have many blueprints yet. I tried it. I didn't see any difference across my accounts. I also wanted to see if maybe there's a higher blueprint drop rate chance if you destroy the surveyor whilst it's sending up its beam, destroying the surveyor after it's sent up its beam, or destroying the surveyor before it's done anything. For all of my different tests, I found no difference in drop rate. It all seemed to be about the same. So there doesn't seem to be any hidden mechanic that boosts your drop rate. It seems to really come down to the fact that there's a set drop rate for the surveyors, and the devs are probably always fine-tuning it and changing it, and that's why many other people have differing experiences with these things. And I think it's there where the biggest myths come from, because it's very clear the devs do change the drop rate fairly commonly without us knowing. I've been tracking blueprint drop rates a lot. When surveyors first were found to have blueprints, it felt like they were dropping them about 40% of the time. And then later on, they adjusted it, and they were dropping them maybe about 5% of the time. I went 25 surveyors in a row before I found a blueprint once, and that was when they didn't spawn very commonly. And I tracked all of this data. Now, obviously, they're dropping a lot more commonly again, and with thanks to this game mode, we can kind of get a better idea of the spawn rates. But because the spawns are always changing, a lot of people have different experiences, and some people start to believe that you need to kill the surveyor really quickly, you need to destroy it by hitting the core, or doing some other weird things. I don't think any of that matters. I think there's a set drop rate, and from my experience, and also taking account any other things that have been posted online, it seems to be somewhere between 15 and 25% in the close scrutiny event. So is it worth hunting down surveyors for blueprints then? Well, I think that you all need to do it for the project anyway, so keep an eye out for the blueprints whilst you're there. Now, you may be wondering, do the blueprints spawn inside the side pieces, or the chips, or Doritos, which is what I like to call them? For about 20 of these surveyors that I killed, I searched every single piece of the surveyor, and I didn't find a single blueprint outside of the main core. Throughout my entire history of playing Arc Raiders, I have never found a blueprint outside of the main core piece. If you loot this piece, it gives you 300 XP, whereas the smaller pieces, it gives you 100. So that's how you can differentiate between what you're looting. Sometimes they're glitched together, and you might get a little bit confused and loot the wrong part. But if you have any video evidence of finding a blueprint inside one of the smaller triangle pieces, let me know. I've never seen it myself. I've never seen any video footage. I don't think it's possible, but still, every single day, people have told me they found blueprints in here. I think it's just a case of people misremembering. Maybe there's a small chance they can drop in here. I just haven't seen any video evidence of it, and I've never had the experience myself yet. With that in mind, I would say keep an eye on these surveyors. Definitely loot every piece for the project, because the side pieces do have surveyor cores, or the vaults, which you need for the project. Keep that in mind, but the main core is the only piece that has the blueprint. So once you're doing the project, search any piece anyway, and then my suggestion after the project is done, if you're spending time in close scrutiny for whatever reason and you see a surveyor running by you, you may as well eliminate it and take a chance. If it's a 15 to 20% chance to get a blueprint inside, you may as well try your luck, because if you don't, then you're not going to have the chance to get it at all, are you, right? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So yeah, it's worth looting surveyors if you by chance come across them, and there's a lot of opportunities to do that in this event. If you're specifically focusing on surveyors to try and loot as many blueprints as possible, there are faster methods. I will add though, once the expedition is done and we're starting from scratch, this is going to be a really nice way to just get a wide spread of blueprints unlocked very quickly from a single map condition. One of the biggest problems in Arc Raiders is you have to play a bunch of different maps and different map conditions to find all of the different blueprints. For example, a lot of the higher tier attachment blueprints are going to spawn more commonly in 2x events, so Night Raids, Cold Snap, Locked Gate, that kind of thing. The Raider style container blueprint, so the Venator, Anvil, Torrente, you're going to kind of want to wait for an Uncovered Caches event to try your luck to get those, or a Hurricane. Whereas if you just loot surveyors, you can have a chance of getting all of those. So if you don't have many blueprints, surveyors are a great way to do it. Otherwise, there are better ways. Now, the best strategy to take down the surveyors is definitely going to be the Jupiter. It's a 2-shot to destroy. If you don't have the Jupiter, an equalizer can be pretty decent as well. It's going to be about half a mag to destroy the surveyor with an equalizer. The Hull Cracker is a very bad idea. It's just really hard to aim on a moving, unpredictable target that rolls, bounces, turns around at any moment's notice. It's not a good way to do with them. An Anvil is faster than the Hull Cracker, actually, because not only is it hard to lead your shots with the Hull Cracker, the number of shots to kill the surveyor with the Hull Cracker is about the same as it is with an Anvil. I think you need about 8 or 9 shots to kill the surveyor with an Anvil, which is really efficient. So if you don't have an equalizer or Jupiter, I'd highly recommend the Anvil instead. Make sure you bring a photoelectric cloak, because the vaporizers basically circle around with the surveyors. They work in packs. If there's a surveyor, there are going to be 1 or 2 vaporizers nearby. And if you shoot the surveyor, the vaporizer will get alerted to your location. So bear that in mind. Have your photo cloak ready, and before you shoot your surveyor, think of an exit plan, because you're probably not going to be able to loot it immediately. All right, thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you found a blueprint in a surveyor, let me know what it was. I'm curious to see other people's experiences. Let me know, and I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio.